You've gotten more information about the inlet than supposedly anyone has before, and as long as you make it back to San Alfonso alive, your mission has been a success. Given the ease of your return journey, you begin to wonder if others have found the inlet and decided not to share. Now that decision falls on you. What will you do with the information you've discovered? I keep it to myself. I report some of my findings to Anne. I report my findings to Anne. I give Anne the full report and sell the information to Jacqueline. I tell Caesar and Tanima so we can prepare for my own bid for the Pirate King. Let's just report my findings to Anne. And then check my stats. Wow, I've got a lot of doubloons. That's cool. I want more ships in my fleet. I want to go buy some more ships. Anne is impressed that you made it to the inlet and delighted that you can point to it with such accuracy on the map. You've improved her cartography with a recreation of the size and scale of the inlet as well as the buildings and docks there. She's interested in the defenses around the inlet, and you can see her calculating the best way to make another approach on the inlet when the time comes. But the best bit of information is the note in the ledger you found, particularly the listed names. I knew they hadn't retired, she crows. I'm so close to becoming the next Pirate King I can taste it. She tucks the newly revised map into her jacket. I'm impressed with your work, Ben Morgan. I'll make sure everyone knows it. She winks. Consider my good word a bonus on your payment. Anne's payment for the information is generous, a full 300 doubloons. Coupled with the rise in your reputation and the sudden influx of people buying you drinks at the Lobo Negro, it's a payment that's going to last for a while. As far as Anne Reed is concerned, that's the last of your involvement with discovering the identity of the Pirate King. Perhaps it is, but perhaps there's more yet to learn. You endure 2 more weeks of waiting after you investigate before your ship is ready to return to sea. Once you're back on the water, you leave the politics and intrigue behind you. Okay, so my fame went up 2 more %, right? And I've still got the flag that's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Chapter 7, Monster of the Deep. Maybe I'll get to fight a kraken. Hurricane season passes, then the dry season, and back into the rainy season with no further news about the Pirate King. The Crown has been even more present than normal in the Lucayan, and their efforts to extinguish piracy have made work harder for everyone over the last year, even for you. You have a fleet of 9 ships, woo! And your wealth has grown quickly. With so many captains under you, it's inevitable that they don't all get along. You figured out how to pair them to your best advantage, however, and with the right captains working in teams, you found they can bring down richer marks. You're making quite a ludicrous profit. The crews on your ships are capable, if not finely honed, they follow orders, and you've had no attempts at mutiny in the past year. Something not all captains can claim, as the Crown has become more dangerous. You've amassed 3,905 doubloons. Do you want to spend any of that? I want to buy another ship. I indulge in my own pleasure. I give my crew a bonus. I want to do both. I want to buy ships and give bonuses. But we'll buy some more ships. A few ships have come, blah blah blah. A few ships have come up on the auction block since you became a captain, and you've kept a weather eye on them. A few affordable ones have come up for sale. The best you've had a chance for a galleon called Amber Dragon, whose captain Lynn Arrayes, one of the two, is in so much debt that she has to sell her ship to another captain's fleet. Luckily, she plans to stay on it, meaning the buyer gets both the ship and her captain in the deal. Another potential purchase is a half-wrecked ketch called Ebony, which barely survived a storm. One of her masts is completely lost, but she's fixable. Let's buy both for 200 doubloons. Next. Caesar hires one of your crew, Alfonso Oscuro, who has experienced as ship carpenter, to sail the Ebony once she's seaworthy again. Caesar, with Tanima's guidance, also hires a fresh-faced cambiante just out of La Universidad to work with Oscuro to save on the ship repairs. The cambiante, who goes only by Tigre, is so utterly eager to please that he tails after Oscuro like a chick after a mother hen. You think it's likely to be a profitable investment. Linerize is grateful to be afloat and even more grateful for the influx of cash to make necessary repairs to the Amber Dragon. You find, however, that it's hard to convince Lynn to target Crown ships. She's a bit of a Crown sympathizer, and you think she one day hopes to retire as a respectable citizen in Crown Colony, but as flaws go, it's not an horrible one. Just dropped my phone. You assign her to more mundane and marginally legal assignments, and the money keeps flowing into your pockets. Your successes since you began your career have put your name in the same breath as such famous pirates as Captain de Contreras, Gabriella the Black, Anne Reed, and the Pirate King. It has also brought you the attention of the Crown, and you found yourself making a number of narrow escapes. Sometimes you wonder if you shouldn't have handled Jacqueline's offer differently, only if to avoid their constant scrutiny. I now have 11 ships in my fleet, and I still have crap tons of doubloons. Maybe it'll be like choice of robots where like saving up my money like I have been. Well, I haven't necessarily been saving. I've been spending it at every opportunity just on some good things. Maybe at some point I'll have to have something really expensive or something. Okay, there's something here. On a blustery night at the beginning of hurricane season, a year after your fateful encounter with the ghost ship, you're having a quiet drink at the pub Porto Balena, unloading some stolen goods right under the governor's nose. Your flagship is moored well away from the port and out of sight. Caesar is arranging for food and supplies to be loaded into the unmarked yawl. The two of you sailed into port while you handle the business transaction. It's risky, but the payout on this deal will be good if you manage it without getting caught. I'm going to get caught. Guarantee it. While you wait for your contact, you hear the usual stories of ghosts and merpeople and daring-dos. Daring-do? What the fuck is daring-do? From tables around you. When you hear someone mention the hidden treasure of Ishmael the Lost, something you hadn't thought about since your days on Blackguard's ship, you listen more closely. Oh, he found it all right. Near lost his ship, too. Why? Asked one of the listeners. Was it cursed? No, protected. Captain Blackguard woke the Lusca. So the devil found it after all. Doesn't sound like it went well for him. The Lusca? No such thing. It's true. Blackguard saw it with his own eye. Body of a giant octopus, eye, but rows of teeth like shark. The crew watched as the first mate got shredded in its dread maw. I'm glad I didn't become his first mate. And now that it's awake, there'll be no stopping it. Great, yeah, he woke the Kraken. Nor nothing guarding the treasure, jokes one of the listeners, and the sailors at the table raise their glasses to Blackguard and his poor luck. I chuckle at the poor fool who woke the monster. I ask the speaker about the damage. I do nothing. I'm keeping a low profile. And hopefully luck will be with you. But then you see Jacqueline de Avelis walk into the tavern, and you have a feeling your luck has already run out. If he's here, and you know he's a crown agent, then there's no hope of making your deal without being recognized. And if you're recognized here in Porto Balena, and Jacqueline can alert the officials without blowing his own cover, you'll be heading for the noose. I greet him. He won't risk his cover to turn me in. I try to leave before I'm spotted. I'm not losing this deal. I'll stay put. I make a break for it. I try to leave without being spotted. You stand casually like you're about to head to the bar for another drink, but that movement is enough for Jacqueline. That, or he was looking for you. He gives you a big smile and gestures table just to your left. It looks as though he'd like to speak with you. I go to greet him instead. I return to my table and wait to hear him out. I can still outrun him. Sure. Jacqueline slides into the chair across from you. A drink is delivered almost as soon as he's seated, though you didn't see him order. Captain Benstacar Angelico, he says cheerfully. I apologize for interrupting your business here in Porto Balena. You're never an interruption. I'm sure I'll be able to conclude my business another time. Let's not make a habit of it. I can conclude it some other time. He grimaces so quickly you almost didn't see it. He's good at hiding his distaste for piracy on San Alfonso, but his Crown alliance must run deep enough that he doesn't enjoy hearing about your activities. Still, there are parties who would like to compensate you for your trouble. He tosses a small bag across the table to you and slides open just enough for you to get a glimpse of what's inside. Something glimmers in the taverner's candlelight like diamonds. I refuse the payment. I don't touch the payment, but I hear him out. I'm a pirate. I take the money. I don't touch the payment, but I hear him out. You leave the pouch sitting between the two of you. Tell me. You've likely heard something that's true, he says. Captain Blackguard went searching for the treasure of Ishmael the Lost in the waters of the Playa Roja. Shipwreck shoal? you ask, and the unofficial name for that shallow stretch of water. Jacqueline nods. And you know there's a trench just north of the shoal. That trench has a nickname as well, Davy Jones' Coffin. I do? Yeah, Davy Jones and... Yep, okay. Somebody's been watching Pirates of the Caribbean. That's where the monster resided until recently. Nearest we can determine is that Ishmael the Lost tied a curse from his treasure to the, coffin, making the Lusca its guardian. Risky move. He'd never have been able to get it back. It's clear he didn't. What my contacts have been able to determine is this. Captain Blackguard must have gotten some of the treasure on board before being attacked, and the Lusca is still trying to hunt it down. It's been terrorizing ships along the route from Playa Roja to San Alfonso. The Crown has a bounty on the beast, he offers, though that much was obvious. I take the pouch after all. I thank him for the information. I ask him to let his contacts know I've taken the assignment. I'm not interested in the Lusca. I ask him to let his contacts know I've taken the assignment, so the Crown will get the fuck off my back. Did my pirate went way up. What the hell? Why did my pirate get so high? Okay. His eyebrow quirked in surprise before he forced his expression into neutral. Have you had a change of heart about my contacts, then? I have to turn a profit to make up for the interruption tonight? No, but the Lusca is a menace. I have decided to take you up on your offer after all. Sure. Oh, cool. I improved my thing with him. He smiles broadly, and a second bag joins the first on the table. Consider that an advance against further work, then, he says cheerfully. I hope this will be the start of a long and profitable venture for both of us. You lift your glass. In the meantime? I'm sure the job is now in good hands, Jacqueline says. The next morning, the sky is clear, the air is close, and you're happy you're back aboard your ship with sails as massive as the Sea Queen's. Back aboard a ship. With winds this calm aboard the yawl, you'd be paddling to make any headway. At least you have a top gallant that can stretch some breeze aloft, and though you're not at the speed you'd prefer, you're moving, and you're free of all the trappings of port life. That afternoon, you're hailed by a familiar ship, the Primavera, captained by Carlito the Fierce, who flags you over for a conversation. Greetings, Captain Benstacar Angelico, Fierce calls through a loud hailer. Any news of the Lusca from Port Belena? Share the gossip I've heard in the Taberna. I find out what he knows first. I tell him what I heard from Jacqueline. I share the gossip I heard in the Taberna. You repeat only what everyone else has been saying. Some of it might well be new to Fierce if he's been in other ports. Blasted things torn through 4 ships since Blackguard woke it up. Sightings put it headed towards San Alfonso. Has anyone seen Blackguard? Through your spyglass, you see Fierce shake his head. Still aboard ship, I'd wager. A few of his crew who washed overboard in the first attack made it to Playa Roja. Blackguard's got a fast ship. He may be trying to outrun this creature, if it's following him. Meantime, El Sabio has a bounty on it. But you'd have to be a fool to face a creature like that. After the Primavera sails off, bearing well away from San Alfonso, Caesar stands next to you, waiting for you to set a course. Set a course for San Alfonso, we'll meet the creature in your port. Set a course to intercept the Lusca. Set a course to intercept Blackguard. Set a course away from San Alfonso, no interest in facing Lusca. We will set a course for San Alfonso and meet the creature in your port. Maybe we'll get some help from some other ships, or like Anne Reed or something. If it's headed towards San Alfonso, your safest bet is to get there first, which means you'll need some extra winds. With Caesar at the helm, you have Tanimo raise the winds, and soon you're making good headway toward your home port. In a few days, you'll be within sight of land, and hopefully the Lusca. After you travel, you only have time to do a few things to get ready. How do you prepare to face the Lusca? I make contact with the merfolk. I ask Granny O'Malley for advice. I consult with Tanima on the best strategy. Let's make contact with the merfolk. I mean, if they really are warriors, they could help me out a little bit. Huge sea monsters seem like just the thing that the merfolk would be useful against. You're not entirely sure how to go about reaching the mermaid you encountered in San Alfonso, but between your knowledge, Granny O'Malley's advice, and Tima's skill, that's what I was gonna... When it asked what Granny O'Malley, I was gonna ask her if there was something that she could help out with, and that would help. You find a way to send a summons through the water, and then you wait, and wait. But then there are ripples in the water, and though the mermaid doesn't appear, you can tell that she's listening through the waves. That's a handy bit of cambiar, Janima says thoughtfully. What message do you want to send? I ask for Luska's weakness. I want to know if there's any way to stop the Luska without fighting it. I request the help of the merfolk fighting Luska. Could we return the treasure? Or we could ask for the weakness. Can I ask this and then continue ask the other one? Oh. You and Janima work the cambiar to send your message and wait again. After a few hours, waves crash over your ship despite calm seas, and as the spray touches you, you feel an answer. This Luska is bound by a curse. As long as Blackguard has some of Ishmael's lost treasure aboard ship, the Luska will continue to hunt. It might also continue on a rampage after that. It's an unthinking creature with a nasty temper. You sense that the next bit of information about the creature is included in case returning the treasure doesn't work. Like an octopus, the Luska moved on its arms, and it contains most of its organs in a sac behind its eyes. In order to In order to attack ships while it's stationary, it has to leave two arms on the bottom, making its attack in shallow water more dangerous. You can't pull a ship under unless it can touch the bottom, though it can squeeze the daylights out of it. Unlike an octopus, its arms are open to reveal pointed muzzle of shark, with hundreds of rows of teeth within. Like both a shark and an octopus, the Luska's brain is right behind its eye. The vulnerable point is probably your best bet, although even with the knowledge of weakness, this will be a difficult task. As you travel, you only have time to do a few things to get ready. How do you prepare to face the Luska? Let's talk with Tanima. That evening, on Caesar's watch, you and Tanima sit in your cabin and discuss the best options. Cambiar is tricky to work on animals, she says, though it can be done. You've done it? You ask. She looks incredibly embarrassed for a moment, losing confidence she's gained since she joined your crew. Slowly she nods. Just before I met you, she explained, there was a challenge offered through La Universidad to see whether the students of Cambiar could direct a fish into the shallows off of Playa de la Sol. You controlled a fish? You ask. She's Corvo Otano. She looks a little sheepish. I controlled a school. She watches your expression to see how you're taking the admission of what created her reputation. Thousands of fish. I made them dance, then had them circle so fast they created a spout under the water. The instructor said they've never seen anything like that. She pauses and looks down at the deck. Most of the fish survived it. Well, you've known for a long time that Tanima is particularly strong at Cambiar, and you wonder why more captains weren't eager to take her on when you first hired her. You suppose that such a power might spook some captains, who'd wonder if she could apply her control to humans as well, but their fear turned out to be your good luck. So you think you can control it? You ask, and she glances you a thanks for not making an issue of her secret. I doubt it, but I could confuse it some. She looks at you in consideration. Or you could try to confuse it, and I could work obstacles for it from the water and sand. Or the two of us together could try to disable it. I don't think we can defeat it with Cambiar alone, but it's certainly a weapon we can use. As you travel, you only have time to do a few things to get ready. How do you prepare, blah, blah, blah. Let's ask Granny O'Malley for advice. Why not? Since that's the last thing there. You're out of your mind, says the ghost when you tell her what you're facing. Who in the name of Davy Jones brought the Luska to the surface? Captain Blackguard, you explain. They found the treasure of Ishmael the Lost. Granny sniffs, showing you just how much she thinks of that old pirate. If it's up, then it has to be faced, she acknowledges grudgingly. It's just like most other fish. None too bright, with its brain behind its eyes. Not that I know you'll get to that without sinking my ship, unless we attach the ramming spar above the figurehead. As Granny speaks, the ship begins to rearrange itself to her description. Above the figurehead, a long ramming spar grows into a sharp point. You wonder where the ship came up with the wood to change from one place to another. and hope Granny's cambiar took material from spare masts you have below rather than anything the ship is currently using. You and Granny survey the ship. You walk, she floats, and make other improvements here and there, strengthening the hull at the foredeck and losing a bit of draft to accommodate the growth. By evening, you feel the ship is in better condition to face a sea monster of any kind. So we could like take sand and we could use water to like push it over and like confuse it. So she could like push it and I could confuse it, and then she could like use sand to like, because we're near the shore, so she could use sand to like hold it down, and then while it's there we'll just ram the ship into its face and kill it. 4 days out of Puerto Belena, 4 humid, still days, with air so close you could cut it with your cutlass if Tanima weren't freshening the winds. There's a break in the heat. The cool, natural breeze is at first a relief. Barometer keeps dropping, Caesar says. Have the ship's carpenter reattach it, you respond. Caesar looks at you blankly for a moment, as if to see if you're joking. I mean, the barometer's showing a drop in air pressure, he explains. Foul weather ahead. I actually have a barometer in my room. It's over there. It's actually right next to a ship. It's... Hopefully I don't mess this completely up, but it's over there. It's over there. And there's a ship. Point the light at it. It's over there. I don't know if that's pointing at it. I think it is. It's over there. The barometer. And a cross-stitch thing or whatever of my birth date and my weight. And a dolphin. Dolphins. And a face. And other crap. There's just crap in my room. Okay, hopefully that's still pointing at me just fine. I don't know if that light is fine. I'll check it after. Tanima closes her eyes and breathes deeply. You can feel the tingle of her power stretching out beyond you. There's a storm being born to our west. Caesar looks to the western horizon. Any chance we could outrun it if we change our bearings? Tanima looks at you, shaking her head. We could maybe skirt some of the worst of it, but it's going to hit us regardless. We're too close. Change course to avoid the worst of the storm. Use cambiar to protect the ship through the storm. Keep our heading. Storm be damned. Make for shore. We'll use cambiar. Right? I'm at 84. We'll use cambiar. And now I'm at 85. I want a 1%. Yay! My sailing is crap still. I'm just as good at sailing, being sneaky, and using swords. Also, it's not... My relationships aren't too bad right now. I don't know how much longer the game is going to end up being, but for the most part, it's going really well. We'll deflect the worst of it, you tell Tanima, and she nods. It will still be difficult going. Best to take the usual precautions. And so we will, you say, taking the helm. Lookouts, rig your lifelines, you order, and Caesar relays the order. The lookouts of the current watch jump 2. Oh, I'm an idiot. Just the way that is worded. Just the lookouts of the current watch jump 2, quickly following the order and making their way aloft. Secure the cannons. Your commands continue, Caesar firing them off as you man the helm. Tanima keeps an eye on the horizon, and none of you are surprised when the veil of clouds blots out the horizon to your west. Close the gun ports, you call out, and Caesar bellows it in an echo. Batten the hatches! The sky grows overcast, and the sea that was calm as glass this morning is broken by small whitecaps. The barometer continues to fall. Douse the fire in the galley! You sail into the next watch, and as the sailors of the second watch come up to replace their peers, the sailors who should be off duty now go instead to man the bilge pumps. Rig your lifelines, you command the sailors still on deck. The whitecaps chop the sea into foam, and the rain begins. Should we strike the sail? Caesar asked quietly. Strike the sails and begin shielding the ship with cambiar. Reef the sails for now. We can get a little farther before we strike them completely. Yeah, strike the sails. I don't want to mess up my sails. Granny O'Malley is going to be pissed. You head into the wind and strike the sails as the rain turns into a driving squall. Together, you and Tanima begin chanting, trying to keep your footing as the waves roll beneath the ship and splash across the deck. You hear Caesar call orders from the helm and your crew's voices shouting out the noise of the storm, fighting the waves as you work to get the shield into place. Your voices crescendo together, and just as the highest wave thus far is about to crash into you and drag you from your feet, it hits a shield of air. The deck levels. The water beneath you and the air around you all stills. The howling of the wind falls to an eerie silence. Janima's face breaks into a wild smile. "We've done it!" she says quietly, and then she resumes her chanting, maintaining the change you put into place. You and the crew watch the storm rage beyond your protective shell of air. Lightning strikes the water as though your tall mast doesn't even exist. Once, a wave that would have swept the ship into the air and sent it crashing when it fell completely drowns the shield. Your voice joins Tanima's to make sure that the air holds. I was chanting already, wasn't I? But there's no need to worry. Your magic is strong, and soon you bob back to the surface, or the surface returns to where it is supposed to be. And you watch the storm rage around you once again. It's eerie, and more than one of your crew makes signs against the supernatural. You're safe, but the mood is tense, and you find your hands have clenched of their own accord. Hours pass. The driving rain lightens for a moment before another squall follows on its heel. But with each break in the weather, the rain eases, the wind dampens, and the barometer begins to rise. Longer still, and the sky brightens. You hear gulls crying over the crash of waves and patter of rain, and you finally unclench your hands. You've made it. You don't know who starts it. You may have even begun it yourself, but soon the crew is shouting in jubilation. They've survived. You survived. Your ship has survived. Damn right! You're sure there's damage to be accounted for, but you've made it. You relinquish the helm. Time to find where the storm has tossed you. You're not on course, that's for certain. It takes you some time with the charts, but you figure you're a day or two sailing south where you would have been just... We're 2 days away now? What? It puts you southeast of San Alfonso, and you adjust your heading accordingly, hoping you'll make lost time faster than Lusca. Luck or fate intervenes. A day out from the little island where you took refuge, you see 4 ships at point on the horizon. To your northwest, there's a small but fleet. To your northwest, there's a small but fleet ship flying the colors of Captain Blackguard. To the northeast, you see the Bonnie Lass, Anne Reed's flagship, limping along at a fraction of her normal speed. And directly north, a crowned ship and a ship flying the colors of the Pirate King are engaged in battle. Wow. Okay, so we've got everybody together, all fighting. So we've got... I'm surprised there isn't, like, Jacqueline there. So there's, like, the Crown, supporter of the Crown, Pirate King, support of the Pirate King. Somebody's trying to kill the Pirate King, and then just me there, like, what the hell am I here? And though it takes a longer look through the spyglass, you realize that the churning waters around the battling ships are not just cannon fire, there's a monster. You found the Lusca, and there's no time to lose. Make for Blackguard ship, set course for the battling ships, head for Lusca, forget the Lusca, and row the Bonnie Lass. We're heading for Lusca. We're going to kill that bitch. You set a course to between the Lusca and Blackguard, ready to intercept the creature when it tries to reach its treasure. Tanima's winds fill your sails, and you make good time, changing your heading to face the Lusca down. You, Caesar, and Tanima stand at the helm, watching the Lusca spear toward you, its wake larger than a small cutter. You've made all the preparations you can. Now is the time to see if your wit and nerve can stand against a monster from the deep. You set a course to meet it head-on, knowing your target that large will be hard to miss. Knowing a target that large will be hard to miss. In a perfect world, its eyes will surface at the right angle for you to spear one, but even if you can't make a direct hit at its weakest point, you're sure to inflict some damage. Ready the harpoons and brace for impact, you shout. Your crew moves in position, and the Luska's massive head rises to the surface. Rows upon rows of teeth glimmering in the spray. Its eyes, round and luminous as the moon, stare at you in hatred. I randomly pause because my mind just goes blank. Like I try to read it too fast, and my mouth just can't keep up. You hear Tanima chanting in my poor, under her breath, a rarity for a woman who usually casts silently, and out of the corner of your eye you see an unusual expression on her face, strain. You add your voice to hers, calling on the waves to batter the creature. The Luska slows only a little, but it's enough to better your chances of making your impact count. As it moves, one of its eyes provides an easy target. So we can keep the spar on target. We can have Caesar take the helm and spear the thing myself. Let Caesar make the killing blow. Hold steady and offer reward to the member of my crew who kills it. So I'm driving and chanting at the same time. Alright, what are we going to do? I'm going to kill this stupid thing.